Hey everybody, I'm Asia Dorsey Jackson, editor, author, and ghostwriter, and today I'm going to be talking about what does a book editor do. So I'm going to be going through four different types of book editors. So most of the time when people come to me for editing services, they just say I need an editor. Most people know they need their book edited, but they don't know what that entails or what they're really looking for. So today I'm breaking down the different types of editing available for your book so you can go to your editor when you go to hire them, educated, knowing what you're talking about, and just knowing what you need so that the process saves you a lot of time and money and runs a lot more smoothly. So the four basic types of edits, I know a lot of people might have like 12 types, 5 types, but for me, I think that pretty much everything falls into one of these four main categories. Those are developmental edit, line edit, copy edit, and proofread. So I'm going to kind of go through these pretty briefly. I'm not going to go in depth into each one in this video, but in future videos, I will go into more depth and help you decide what you need. But for this video, I really just want to give you the basics so that when you're going to hire an editor and you're thinking about what you need and they're talking you through it, you at least have some familiarity with these terms. So a developmental edit is a structural edit. That's like a big picture edit. The structural edit is like another name that you might call it here a developmental edit called. So this is really big picture of your book. It's going to deal with the overall structure of your book. Is your book structured in a way that a reader can understand? The content, is there enough content? Does the content, is it in line with what you're trying to convey through your book? Your overall tone. If your book is designed to be empowering, does that tone come across in the book? The direction of the book. Most of the time with your developmental editor, you're going to spend some time talking about what your goal is and what your purpose is with this book. So your developmental editor is going to read the book and really look at, does this book serve the purpose that you designated for it from the outset? Clarity, is the book overall clear? And then does it meet the standards of your genre? If it's a diet book, if it is a book about financial empowerment, a book about relationships, how does it kind of stack up against those books that are in your genre? Does it meet those reader expectations? It's really about the big things that you need to do to make your manuscript the best that it can be. So that's going to be your developmental edit. Kind of your next step down, kind of moving in a little more detailed, is a line editor. Some people call these substantive editors, some people call these content editors. It's easy to confuse a line edit with a copy edit since they're both kind of occurring at the sentence level. But the line edit is really going to address things like clarity, sentence style, repetition. It's really looking at the language. It's not necessarily looking at the grammar. And those are two things that are very closely aligned, but they're not exactly the same thing. Because the line editor is still really looking at whether the sentences that you have are still going along with that overall goal. Is every sentence that you have meeting your goals for this book? Is it clear enough? Do your sentence tone come across with the tone that you're trying to come across with the entire book? Are you repeating a certain phrase over and over again? So your line editor might rewrite sentences or certain paragraphs to improve the language of your book. Next step down, copy editor. Copy editor. Now we're getting a lot more detailed because the copy editor is really digging into the weeds. They're really going into those sentences and cleaning them up, looking at the grammar. Is your grammar correct? Is your punctuation correct? Are you using the correct tense, parts of speech? All those things. So your copy editor is going to do a much more intense cleanup than your line editor. And then your final editor, which is usually the last step before the manuscript is finalized is the proofreader. So the proofreader is really checking for errors. They're looking for errors in spelling, punctuation, spacing, hyphens, all of those really little things. Your proofreader is really kind of like a human version of a program like spell check, but they're much better at it because they're human in their experience. So again, that's really the rundown of the different types of edits. Just so you know, just because there are all of these different types of edits doesn't mean that you need a different editor for each step in this process. A lot of editors handle the whole thing or most of it and work with a proofreader for some of it. So those again are things that we'll get into in later videos, but I wanted to run down those terms with you so that you understand what they are and that you can be more educated moving forward. So if you want more from me, please visit me at ajadorseyjackson.com, and I will talk to you again soon.